Mhm. Hey guys, sorry, checking out some stuff here. Well, what did you think about that first half with Georgia and Ohio State? Ohio State at the end of the first half leading over Georgia by a score of 28-24. So, what do you think? What a wild first half, huh? As it comes to an end. Again, Ohio State leading Georgia 28-24. Kind of wild. Georgia's defense definitely has its work cut out for it against CJ Stroud. He's got me so upset I can't even say his name. CJ Stroud and this Ohio State offense, a high-powered Ohio State offense. Just checking out some statistics here in the first half. Stetson Bennett passing for 191 yards, one touchdown and one interception. Kenny McIntosh, 2 runs, 56 yards. Dejon Edwards, 4 runs, 48 yards. Kenny Milton, 3 runs for 26 yards. And so Georgia, uh, stay calm and trust Kirby. Now, checking out Ohio State's statistics, CJ Stroud, what a first half he had, 238 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. And basically, their rushing attack, Ohio State's rushing attack, is non existent. But apparently, they don't need it because the passing attack is pretty stout. So here we are at halftime, and the score is Ohio State 28 and Georgia 24. So what do you think about this game? We knew we felt like it was going to be a difficult game. Of course, my predicted score was 34-17. That's obviously out of the window. So let's check out and see what some of you guys are saying. Rich says we need to stay calm and trust in Kirby. Indeed. Ferguson checks in. Georgia needs to wake up. Georgia's defense needs needs to wake up, certainly. Cameron, hunker down and settled in, dogs. Let's see. Joe, glad it's Stetson's last year. So he's not really. Stetson didn't have a bad first half at all. The one interception was, that was not good. Obviously, that was not good. But Georgia defensively, somehow, some way, has got to find a way to stop C.J. Stroud and this high-powered Ohio State offense that is picking apart the Georgia defense. So again, the statistically, and just checking the box score here, trying to get the latest up-to-date statistics for Georgia. Stetson Bennett again, 191 yards passing in the first half, 1 touchdown and 1 interception. So let's see. James says defensive backs are struggling, but he believes we're going to pull it through. Certainly hope so. Cameron says stop playing too high safety, period. Need to go more man to man. And we have Stuart checking in from England. Go Dogs from England. Hey, Stuart, how are you? We pray that everything is going well across the pond. And thank you for checking in with us. And I'm sure you're watching the game in England. We have a lot of British Bulldogs, by the way, in England. And so we always appreciate those guys checking in with us. Rich, more of the false blitz. It confuses Ohio State line, more D-line shifts. And so we're getting some suggestions for strategy. But here we are at halftime. And Ohio State 28 and Georgia 24. Georgia will get the ball at the beginning of the first half. Now, Georgia's defense has to step up. But to be honest with you, so does the defense for Ohio State, because the defense for Ohio State is pretty porous when it comes to the run. And when Stetson gets his time, pretty porous according to passing as well. So this is going to be a nail biter all the way down to the end of this game. That is pretty obvious now. We were all hoping for a Georgia blowout. It does not appear that that's going to happen. C.J. Stroud he had a phenomenal first half. Somebody needs to light a fire under Dumas Johnson and that secondary. Linebackers and corners look awful. They're not, uh, I wouldn't say it was the best defensive half for Georgia, certainly. And Ohio State's offense looks really well. The passing attack, now the running attack, it's nothing. So it's all passing for Ohio State. Playing soft zone, they have to get pressure and play man. Yeah, you got to somehow. Now CJ Stroud, he doesn't take very long at all to pass the ball. When he gets it, it's a 1, 2, 3, it's out. And so if you're going to put pressure on CJ Stroud, you got to get it pretty quick. And so hopefully there will be some adjustments made by Georgia at halftime, UGA at halftime, to try to slow down this Ohio State offense. Jordan, Ohio State needs to quit confusing their defense and run a balanced defense. Okay. And Matthew Mitchell got to pressure CJ and get him on the ground. That would certainly help. And so you have to look for adjustments at halftime for Georgia. Now, again, these teams appear to be at this point, they appear to be pretty evenly matched at this point. As far as statistics for the teams, Georgia has had 12 first downs, Ohio State 13. Georgia has more total yards than Ohio State in the game in the first half. Georgia actually has 313 total yards to Ohio State's 248. Ohio State has 238 passing yards. Georgia has 191. Georgia has 122 rushing yards. Ohio State has only 10 rushing yards in the first half. And total plays, the total plays for each team is they're even 32 total plays, for each team. So, it's pretty even first half. That is reflected in the score. Georgia gets the ball first in the second half. Somehow, some way, the Georgia defense has got to put some slowing down on C.J. Stroud and this passing attack. For Ohio State, Chad said if we can't get pressure on Stroud, it's going to be a long second half because we can't cover anyone. Our defensive backs are having difficulty covering these receivers for Ohio State. We need to tackle way better. We are elite. Gene says, who caused the most effective depth on defense? Let's see, game plan to change or you lose to Big O. Yep. And so we're getting some messages here, a little frustration as far as Georgia is concerned. Now, TCU, of course, winning big over Michigan in an exciting game in the Fiesta Bowl. TCU winning that game over Michigan. That puts TCU in the national championship game, which will be January the 9th at SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles. And so congratulations to the TCU Horned Frogs for that big win over Michigan. Almost no one picked TCU other than yours truly. I picked TCU to win that game. Harbaugh now, coach at Michigan, is now 1-6 in bowl games. So there you go. So it's going to be an exciting and tough second half. And let's see, we are coming up a little after 10 o'clock. So this game may not be decided until 2023. Happy New Year to everyone. Apparently, now Darnell Washington did go out with an injury. Warren McClendon is not playing. We had received word that he was dressed up and ready to play, but he's not playing. Mims is playing in his stead. Stetson's got a little injury. He's got a couple of dings. A little issue with his throwing arm and also with his leg. doesn't appear to be anything of, great concern, and he's throwing very well. It's just I don't think you can, necessarily say that Georgia's offense has let Georgia down during the first half. I think it's all comes down to the defense, and you got to give kudos to Ohio State and C.J. Stroud. I mean, it's totally the passing game. Again, Ohio State has 10 yards rushing in the first half. So the Georgia defense somehow, some way, has got to find a way to stop the Ohio State offense and give Georgia's offense the opportunity to do what it can do. Now, Georgia's offense is moving the ball, obviously, on um, on Ohio State, and Ohio State's defense it doesn't appear to be an elite defense by any means. Georgia's offense can handle that defense, but somehow Georgia's defense has got to settle down and slow down the offense for Ohio State. So that's where we are at halftime. And so, what do you think? My prediction of 34-17 is completely shot. And but it's 28-24. Georgia gets the ball first in the second half. So it's going to be a game of adjustments. It's going to be a game of toughness. This is going to be a tough one. This is going to be a nail biter. This is going to go down all the way to to the end of the game. Unfortunately, I was looking for a nice and peaceful and pleasant New Year's Eve into the new year, but it's not going to happen. This is this is going to be a tough one. Brandon Parrish, they better keep running the ball. Yeah, I think Georgia's going to run the ball and pass when is necessary. Now, Darnell Washington apparently is out for the rest of the game. That's something that we're hearing. Don't know if he'll come back. Darnell will come back. Oscar Delp has been playing in his stead, and he's a capable substitute. Also, Chaz Chambliss was injured, and he is not going to return. He has apparently a knee issue, and so that you're going to have to plug in some young players in the place of Chaz Chambliss. He was in playing in the stead of Nolan Smith, who obviously Nolan Smith out for the season with an injury. So there we go at halftime. Now, Georgia fans are not used to this at halftime. We're not used to being behind. But hey, this is the college football playoffs. You're playing elite teams. This is tough, and it's going to go down. This is going to be a nail biter. But we have confidence in Georgia. We believe Georgia is going to pull it out. What about you? John says we need to get a touchdown every drive and stop their drives. Yep, need to do that. Chris Adams, go Dogs. See what Brandon has to say. Fourth string running back, right past Johnson for a touchdown. That's true. Yeah, Georgia's defense, they got to tighten up, and we sure they will. They'll do that. All right. So we're going to be back with you after the game. Hopefully, it'll be after a victory. Hopefully, it'll be in the new year with celebrating a victory for the University of Georgia. Thought we would jump in here and give you the opportunity to give us your 2 cents worth about this first half. So let's go, Dogs, and let's get after it, and let's try to come back here in the second half and win this game and advance on to the national championship game against TCU. That's what we're hoping for. And if you're a confident Georgia player or Georgia, fan, then that's, what you're confident in the fact that it's going to happen. Deborah says we need to sack Stroud. We certainly need to put pressure on him. All right, guys, that's it for our halftime report. We'll be back with you after the game.